What's going on, everyone? I'm Chris Baker.
And I'm Ty Backer.
Welcome to episode 180 of Behind the ToolBelt with TC Backer Construction.
TC Backer. Roofing, siding, windows, gutter, solar. Roofing, siding, windows, gutter, solar. TC Backer, TC Backer.
Behind the ToolBelt is sponsored by Lead Scout. Find out more at leadscoutapp.com.
I just think our salespeople are being a little bit of, well, lead babies.
Yeah, we don't say lead babies. It's okay for people to specialize in selling instead of canvassing and lead gen for themselves. We call them roofing sales professionals.
Surprisingly, sales are way up as we've built heavier duty lead gen systems and let our salespeople be roofing sales professionals.
Better leads. TC Backer, TC Backer.
Boom, TC Backer family, Behind the ToolBelt family, roofing family. Welcome to episode 180. Hopefully everyone is enjoying their week, man. We got a lot of energy over here. I'm super high energy. I know Ty's always high energy. So coming off of a really strong week here at TC Backer. We had a lot of really cool things last week that I'm sure we may dip into a little bit this episode. Tyrus, how are you doing down there in Delaware, brother?
I'm doing flipping fantastic.
Fantastic.
Weather's great. Yep. Weather's great. Things are good. Team's killing it down here. Getting prepared for a new salesperson, trying to make him feel at home when he gets here. He's up at home base headquarters right now being trained. Mm-hmm. Fortunately, we got hit with hail, so no better time than now to train somebody to do what it is that we do, especially at this location here, plus to what he brings to the table, his experience and expertise in that type of market. He's actually showing our guys some things. So until he learns our processes, I think he's going to kill it, man. He's a good kid. Henry, big shout out to Henry. If Henry's watching, man, he's a go-getter, and I'm looking forward to seeing how well he does in the near future.
Yeah, he fits in great, man. I've had the pleasure of meeting him up here at home base. He's hopping right in, getting dirty, and he definitely has the high energy, and I feel like he fits the culture well. So looking forward to seeing what he can do. Heath Evans, what's up, brother? I see your comment right there. Thank you everyone that's in here right now for constantly being in here. Mike Brown's good to see you in here, brother. But let's get to our guest here, man. Yeah. We got Erich Moore with Superior Sales Coaching. How are you, Erich?
Very good.
Very good. Excellent, man.
Very good.
Excellent.
Good stuff, man. Where are you coming from, Erich?
So I'm in the suburbs of Cleveland, Ohio, just a little bit west, about 15 minutes.
Oh, nice. How close are you to Dylan Mullins?
Very close. We work together, so we're working together right now.
Nice. Okay, what are you working on?
So I'm trying to breed him up a sales team right now for his company. I'm breaking doors down in a brand new area, so one person I'm training right now is my nephew, and it's going well. It's going well. It's been really tough. We can get to that later and the details, but we're breaking into new areas, and I'm finding areas that there's no roofers out there, period. So to me, there's nothing more exciting, or I guess exciting, than folks that don't know that they could have their insurance cover a roof for them. I've been in areas where they're like, "Oh, you're the 10th roofer," and to me, that's always really tough. It's like, how do you differentiate at that point?
Yeah.
You do a backflip in front of them, like, what do you do? So my thing is, I love talking to people that are just like green, because they haven't been like, I don't want to say poisoned, but they haven't been, hit, like tackled yet by like salesmen, with. But also those roofs are a little easier to get approved. They're the hill ones, so it's like it's this whole weird balance. And I've been in this industry over 10 years, knocking doors, so I've seen a lot of different things. But we'll get to talking more about my stuff later, so I don't want to steal the energy of the room right now.
No way, Jose. It's all about you. You're the star of the show, bro.
Thanks.
Yeah.
But that's the whole thing I've been thinking about so much lately is because in the wind world right now, it's been really tough. I'm dealing with the denial like every single day. And I'm prepping my homeowners more and more on what they can do to be prepared for that. Making sure that if that goes that way and like we absolutely can't make it happen for them, like, are you interested in financing? We have these different options out there. So I'm always trying to be proactive, because reactive is never good in sales. It rarely works, you know what I mean? Unless that person's really committed. And I always say, buying a roof it really isn't sexy. It's not like buying a new car. You get excited about that. You get to hop into it, drive it every day. Like, no one's excited to look at their roof every day, or, it's just a different type of purchase. So just setting expectations is what I'm really about. And you guys were talking about a new salesperson you have. Like, there's nothing I love more as a sales coach than like taking on a new salesperson and just seeing what parts you need to tweak in them to like make them run at like full capacity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. I actually just had a conversation with a homeowner tonight. We talked about roofing isn't necessarily a want, it's a necessity. It's something that we need. And that's what's so great about our industry is that, it's a commodity that, it's something that somebody's always going to need. It's never a want. And it's the thing that protects the most precious, most valuable asset that a lot of people own. Right. And, I said that to this guy, and he's actually an acquaintance of mine, and I know him really well. And he's like, he's like, I can agree to that. He's like, but I'm actually looking forward to getting a new roof put on my home. We've been trying to limp his roof along over the past several years. And it's not Johnny, by the way, it's a friend of ours from Lennar Homes, Mike Wanzala. And we're trying to, walk him through the insurance process, and they hit him with depreciation. And he's asking me what we can do to try to help facilitate that process that he's in right now with the insurance company. And of course, we use a company called Max 4, who isn't highly, doesn't advertise a whole lot. They only specialize with certain contractors, and we're fortunate and blessed enough to be able to use their product to help the homeowner, through that process. And then that's something I want to touch on with you, educating the homeowner and stuff, and why it's so important for guys like you and guys like us in the industry to, teach and train contractors, but not only that, but coach our homeowners, so why don't we get into a little bit about what you do to help us, and then in turn in terms to help our homeowners facilitate that process.
Yeah, absolutely. So I always believe that with salespeople, the best thing that can happen is like you teach them some theory, and then they go out and they fail, right? So like that's going to be the best teacher. Everybody needs like theory, application, and then you go back and you think about it again, and then you reattack with your new knowledge that you learned from failure and theory, right? So you keep going back at things. So what I have my own site, I have 27 modules up on there. It's called the Superior Sales Course. And I've been sharing it, and people have been purchasing it, which has been really cool. But I have 27 modules where I take like a greener salesperson, and I really teach them the guts of door knocking. I teach them the type of mindset they need to have. I was just training a salesman this week, and he had this really worried look on his face, like the whole time we were just talking in the shop. And I was like, let me ask you a question. Do you think that what you're doing is like selling? Do you feel like you're almost pestering people, etc.? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, so let me help you tweak that for a second. Like, you need to understand that you need to be the best service person out there. Like, sales unfortunately has a bad connotation because of the past and the whole used car salesman thing. Like, we need to remember that we are service people more than anything. Like, we are there to take care of that client all the way through. Like, that's got to be our duty. So if you can affect that mindset and have it be like, I need to be the best service person I can be, I believe that those people can start to sell better, right? So they need to come from a place of service, like a place of, how do I do my absolute best to take care of that homeowner? So along with that is going to come the art of setting proper expectations with your homeowner. So for example, depending on what the kind of damage is, what that is by doing your proper inspection, your photos. Then you move into, okay, who's your insurance company? Okay, let's sit down and look at your declarations page. Let's see what you really have here. Like, what do you actually have here? So that way I can set the proper expectations. I'm like, okay, you have so-and-so insurance company with an ACV policy. So, if you do it long enough, I know, Ty, you know how to do it. You look at a roof and you're like, okay, your roof is $17K. They're probably going to pay around half. So like, are you ready to pay $10K out of pocket? Like, are you ready to finance $10,000? Because if we did it under these terms, you got to be able to pull out a calculator. You always have to my big thing is expectations, but also is bringing the future into the now. That skill alone is what I've been thinking about the last few weeks. Has worked really well for me. Is how do I bring the future into now and paint that picture and make it super clear so they can digest it, so they can digest $290 a month for the next 18 months, whatever it's got to be, right? So that art and that skill alone right there has made me a lot of money, because I've learned how to bring the future into now and just help people understand what it's going to look like. If it goes better, it goes better, right? There's no training needed there. But the problem is salespeople they're worried about making the sale. They're worried about having people sign the agreement, stuff like that. And so they word vomit, or they say something silly that they can't even guarantee or promise, right? Because they just want to sign the deal. And they have commission breath. They have desperation breath at that point. You're just starting up. But I also think that a big part of that, and that's why I designed my course, is for like the newer guys to have something. Like, I know sales managers are busy. I know owners are impossibly busy, or they just don't feel like that's their bag, right? So like, finding sales managers like myself, I've seen the worth in like what I do. Like, it's special, because you don't find guys like me everywhere, right? The guy that can be right in the middle of things. I see more owners, I think, than I do sales managers out there, like good ones, So being able to teach those skills, set the right expectations, and just paint the picture for the homeowner, that's what the salesperson needs to be able to do. That's what they need to be trained on how to do. But some people don't know how to train that. And that's the type of things that I try to specialize in and train for those folks, so that they can have a great career.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question real quick, man. You spoke earlier about you found a untapped market, what you call the green homeowner that doesn't, isn't, excuse me, isn't used to a roofer coming by and saying, hey, I noticed damage on your roof. I can get your roof bought by insurance. How hard is it to get a green salesman in there to build confidence, to knock on a door of a potential homeowner that, probably has the mindset of, I didn't call you, why are you here? You know what I mean? Because I know up around our area, Ty, that's kind of the persona. It's not like Texas where they're waiting for a roofer to come tell them that it's time for a new roof. You know what I mean? Those guys are so used to it. Every 3 years, a storm comes through and it's time for a new roof. Who's going to be the best roofer that's going to come in here and give me my roof? How do you train somebody for the confidence, I would say, to go up there and sell themselves and their company to a person that didn't call them?
There's like fireworks going off in the back of this side of my head and like back here right now, because I've done it so much. Like, yeah. I've trained and bred and led, I would say like 35, 40 salespeople plus. Like, So those types of sales, in my opinion, as long as I frame it correctly for that salesperson, it's just having a conversation.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that bad.
Right.
You know what I mean? I literally, this sounds crazy, but I see different patterns even on different streets. Like, I'll see a street that, I don't know, man, it's hard to sell those people right there, but I'll move a street or two over and like everybody's really nice.
Yeah.
It's like you're just out there vibing. So the thing is that I try to just frame it so like, dude, you're just having a conversation, like just relax. You know what I mean? This is literally my pitch. Hey, I'm a local roofer. I just noticed you had some damage on the roof, and I was just seeing if you had it looked at. Blah, 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 blah. Doesn't matter what they say after that point. Here's some information on my company. So you're providing physical value right there, right? You're handing them something. And then you're saying, I'm going to do a quick inspection for you. And that's the part that takes the balls, right? You got to be like, well, I'm going to go ahead and do a quick inspection for you. Take me 5 or 10 minutes, and I can show you what's going on up there. Fair enough?
Yeah.
And you do the chicken nod. Like that's the body language, that stuff all counts. So it takes some practice, you know what I mean? But like, I haven't seen anybody easier to practice on than those green folks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they're naturally interested because they've never heard this before. It's fresh information.
Right.
And I think that piques their curiosity. I think that you spell peaks like PIQUE. I think the piques their interest. And so it's in my most humble opinion, it's a much easier sale than them having to go to a door where the homeowner might be irritated. They're in the middle of eating dinner or something, and you're like the roofer, the 7th roofer. You know what I mean?
Or a homeowner that's been burned by a door-to-door contractor, or because we all know that in those areas there's a higher concentration of the dirty stuff.
Or they've been burned by the insurance company.
Right.
They sit there and they go, I already tried that. And the first thing out of my mouth is, I get it. I know you got a bad taste in your mouth. I completely understand. I mean, those few words right there, I get it. I'm with you. And I understand. Those have made me a ton of money as well. Because
yep.
People want to be heard. If you want to be heard, and you want to be on a path of agreement always with the homeowner.
Yeah.
I teach salespeople the power of agreement. I learned that from Grant Cardone, like 12 years ago, in like some seminar. Was like, find a way to agree with folks. Like, even if they say the sky is blue, or I'm sorry, the sky is red, like I'd be like, I can see how you see it that way. Anyways, you move on, you agree and move on. Right.
Yeah.
So you never argue with somebody, because our society is conditioned to want to argue with each other for ego. And there's almost probably a high that people get psychologically from arguing. And then they shut you down at the door. And you know what? They feel like they won because they shooed you off. They're like, I won. I beat that salesman who came to my door. Where they just screwed themselves. And they didn't really screw you, but like they screwed themselves out of a new roof because they chased you off, because their ego and their brain thought like, oh, this is a good idea to chase this person away. I just defended the house.
Yeah.
I mean, am I wrong?
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Absolutely.
For sure. So can you share some strategies or techniques that have been particularly effective for you over the years of either training or when you were at the door, both?
Sure. So I just wrote a PDF for this. It's like a quick, this is like a few step guide on how to solve a lot of problems like internally in your sales company. You got to have meetings, man. Like, I believe in a meeting every Friday and every Monday and every Friday at 10 a.m. Right. It's got to be a good meeting. You got to want the sales people to want to be there, because the whole argument can come up if they're bad meetings. Well, I'm 1099. I don't have to be there. Right. And then we'd have to rebut. Like, I've seen people rebuttal back because they had a bad sales manager in front of them and they was doing bad meetings. They would go, well, we're not going to give you any leads if you don't show up. I mean, that's not good leadership. Like, that's not healthy. Right. It's like leading by fear. So structure. These sales folks need structure. I know the whole thing is you get to make your own schedule. You get to hit the doors when you want to. If you get a lead, you can call it, set it when you need to. That is so beautiful, right? That we get to, a lot of us have kids. A lot of us have things going on. Like, let's set these appointments around those things as much as we can so that we can have time for our family and everything. But they need structure. And I'm big on that. Like, all the salespeople need to have structure. So you run good quality meetings Monday and Friday, especially if you have a sales team. I would say even 5+. You got 5+ salespeople. Like, I would highly recommend running a sales meeting every Monday and Friday. And there's so many things to talk about. There's so many better things to talk about than just going up there and spouting numbers. Like, well, you got 3 signups this week and you got 2. You need to step your game up over there. Like, dude, that is so lame. Like, don't do that. Right. So my big thing is I always had a block in my whiteboard, like in the top left or top right. And it said, what do we want to learn about? and it's anonymous. Anybody can walk up there to that whiteboard at any point in time, and I want to learn about siding warranties. Cool, I see that. I will do a whole workshop on that Friday on siding warranties so that people that are selling siding jobs, they know how to explain that stuff, right? So
Cool.
I always left it very open for whatever they wanted to learn. So there's a couple things right there, like keeping the door open to feedback for sure. As a sales manager, you got to do that. You got to translate things between your owner and whoever's above you, like the CEO. You know, I always had to be that liaison between the CEO and the salespeople. You know, I'm like right in the middle here. So having a person that can, you know, speak the languages of, like, they have these strategies that they want to implement, you have to be able to implement them down to the salespeople, right? So, but to wrap that up and make it into something digestible, I believe in meetings twice a week, Monday and Friday. I believe in having an open door as far as training and teaching and just plain heart. Like, I always believe you got to be like the beating heart of the company, and that's even at owner level. You have to be involved, and you have to make sure your people know that you care. And the way they know you care is by having the doors open so that they can come to you when they need something, right? There's just something to me super unsettling about watching a sales manager not answer the phone when a rep is calling and they're not doing anything. I'm like, you're missing an opportunity right there for so many things. You could be teaching somebody something they need to know. You could be saving a sale that probably in some way, shape, or form affects your paycheck, right? When I see those kinds of things, it disturbs me. Like, I'm like, why are you not answering that call for your rep? And that's keeping a closed door. That's you somewhere inside saying, I'm too good to answer that phone call. Like, you got to stay humble as a sales manager or owner or whatever your position is to answer that call. Now, there comes a point where you have some salespeople that are really needy, right? They call too much. Hey, there's ways to address that. It can be tough, but sometimes you just got to sit them down and be like, hey man, like, you're going to have to figure some things out on your own, because there is a point where, and we were kind of going with this a little bit earlier, you have a brand new salesperson. When do you let them sink or fly? You know, I believe in sales, they say sink or swim. I think it's like sink, swim, or fly. Right. There's those ones that just become the high performers and they're just like good, right? There's some that are swimming and trying to get out of the water and get in the air, right? But there's a point where you got to let them go. You got to let them fail. Like, in salespeople, that's how we learn the best, is we got to fail sometimes.
Well
Yeah,
said.
for sure. Yeah, definitely well said, man. And I know personally for myself, I'm getting a lot out of this, not just as a reminder or refresher, but I'm getting a lot out of this, and I'm sure our viewers are also getting a lot out of this. So most recently, and I terribly regret not spending more time with you out at the Revolt retreat. Shame on me. And that's why I was so quick to get you on the show. Just so we could hear more of you and about you, because we know, what you're doing and what you're about, and obviously are part of the Revolt group. So that says enough in itself right there in a nutshell. Did I see most recently that you became a Revolt certified coach?
Yes.
Tell us about that and why that's so special.
Well, when I joined Revolt, came out there in November, December, my favorite thing that I walked away from at the end of it was, nobody here thinks they're better than each other. And literally, like, this dude over here is a literal millionaire, and this dude over here is like, he's making enough to like live and just a little bit above that. No one in that room thought they were better than anyone. There was just a across the board humility for everyone. And I love that. I really, really respected that. And I felt that was the right environment to be in, and the right environment to like join and be an advocate for. I've enjoyed it a lot. I've gotten so much value out of being with these guys. It's been a blast. And it's taken me through some recently. I've had some hard times. I've had some hard times, and those guys are like my brothers. I really do have more in common with them than I do people I've known some of my whole life. Because you have the most important commonalities. You have the commonalities of where you want to go, where you've been, your beliefs in business and personal things. There's a lot of value there, and that's always the key thing is right is whether we spend our time there, our energy, or our money there, we always have to believe that the value you're getting is bigger than what you're spending. And I've gotten that already greatly. What's also been cool is my coaching company. Like, I've gotten to coach a couple Revolt members teams, and that has been awesome. And I got more that I'll be coaching up here soon. Like Daniel Zavodny's team, I'll be coaching his team soon. It's been great. It's been really cool. And I just launched my company. Like, I'm really fresh. So like, I love any and all support. As you can tell, like I'm just about to bring the value. Like, I'm always wanted to bring the value to you and because I really care. Like, I want your team to do better, and I want them to explode, and have those aha moments where they come home and they're just like, you're full of positive energy, from the day, because you're like, you conquered something that you wanted to conquer. I remember those feelings, like when I was driving home and I get like 3 or 4 agreements a day, and I was driving an hour away to that spot because no one was green, no one was out there. And I got like 4 agreements in one day, and I was just driving home in my sports car, and just the sun was setting, and it was just like the greatest day, But it's because of everything that I had learned from failure and persistence. I'm the grinder, dude. Like, I don't annoy customers that are like on the fence. I call them like the yellow ones. Like, they're like the medium customers. Like, there's like the medium, the hard, and the easy customers. I always believe on every street, there's 2 easy, there's 2 medium, there's 2 hard customers on that street. But when I get the hard ones, those are the ones that would always give me the most referrals. So when I cracked that thick door down, when I used like a welding torch and got through it and knocked it down, like, those customers are the ones that it's almost like they saw my persistence through it all. Like, I know that I'm difficult. I know that I'm a hard person to deal with, and that those were great feelings. And I want to give that feeling over to others. So my company's brand new, and yeah, like what I do is I come up for a few days and I do live coaching. We do academics and we go hit the field. Like, I don't want to do coaching Zoom calls, like I gotta feel the energy in the room and see what's going on and see how I can try to leave that place a little bit better than I found it.
Right on, man. We firmly believe in that as well, and I liked how you touched on a few things early on there in this last comment that you made. You went there, you went to the Revolt, you liked what you were getting. Everybody was on the same playing field. And what one of the things that I like most about that is that as a manager, as a leader, as an entrepreneur, as whatever, we don't have all the answers all the time. And it's tough to be vulnerable, around anyone, especially as a man, right? It's tough to put your guard down, and with Revolt, that has given me an area or a space to surround myself around like-minded people where I can admit I don't know everything. I'm struggling with this. I'm struggling with that. And some a lot of deep stuff that you can't go other places to be around people that would understand some of those things and the pressures and the weight of the world that some of us carry on us. And to differentiate sometimes for me is, and I just recently had a discussion with somebody today about, what it is and a reminder of why we do what we do. Right. Because I know for me, I can get into a funk and be like, there's a group of people that are just here to take advantage of me. But it's really, a lot of that has to do with my perspective. And sometimes I need reminded of that, but I need someone who's been where I've been to understand when I say, like, sometimes I just want to scoop back in there and gain control back. Right. But the reason why we're doing what we're doing is to encourage and embrace other people and everything that we've built. For me to go in there one day, not that it would ruin in one day, but if I get in there and I start to try to control things that I haven't been in control of for a certain amount of time, not to get off our entire topic, but I love leadership is something that I study. Leadership is something that I know I'm only as good as I'm willing to learn and educate myself on being a better individual, a better human being, a better father, a better brother, parent, soulmate, whatever. And that's what I get out of Revolt and those individuals that attend Revolt, not just the coaches, but the individuals that are attending and the people that I have met, as I reached out to one today, and like he reeled me in real quick, and he didn't make me feel bad. He just kind of reminded me of some things, and because this is the deal, right? There are moments where I lack clarity. There are moments where I lack vision, right? And that's my fucking job, right? I need vision and I need clarity, right? Like on a regular basis. But sometimes I lose inspiration, right? And I got to know myself and find out, where can I go to find inspiration? Where can I find that spark? Where can I be inspired? Because at the end of the day, this is the bottom line. I'm a human being and I have feelings, right? I'm insecure. I get very neurotic. I lack self-esteem, right? But in some people's eyes, I'm a man of steel. Maybe I'm thinking that's what some people think. Like, you know, he can handle this. Well, yeah, I can. But at the end of the day, I put my I put my pants on one leg at a time, just like anybody else. And that's when you said about everyone being on the same playing field in that room that day in what was it, Austin, Texas? I think we were in Wilmington or wherever it was in Texas at the last Revolt retreat.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. And that's where I seek that clarity again, that reboot, that reset, right?
Yep.
For me, and give away every single bit of what knowledge that I may have to somebody else. And sometimes by me just speaking is reminding me, yo, dipshit, you got to stay on the rails too, because I'm not going to share something with you that I'm not doing myself. So that's my soapbox.
Yeah. You get so focused on that 1% sometimes, man. Something goes wrong and it's like, Ty, we talk about it all the time, bro. There ain't nothing anyone's going to tell us about ourselves that we don't already know. We're our own big critics, man. And sometimes that 6 inches between your head, like you say, that's a dangerous place to be staying. You know what I mean? And to lose that vision and that clarity. I'm super glad that you have that you're able to go to be a better leader for us at TC Becker.
Yeah, it's definitely something that we all try to do. And one of our jobs is to create better human beings, not just leaders themselves. And we've talked about this before too. It's like, whether you stay at our company forever or you go to another company or whatever you decide to do, regardless, you are going to leave a better human being when you leave TC Becker Construction. And that's a promise. I can't promise many things. That's a guarantee. But if you hang out with us long enough, that shit's going to rub off like osmosis. You can't help it.
Fucking osmosis.
I think a big thing here is transformation, not motivation, too.
Oh, I like that.
You know, we live in a world where for a long time there, everybody talked about the motivational speaker, right? And I think that's actually a little bit unfair for most of those guys, because really what they're doing is they're transformational speakers, as long as you embody the habits that they tell you to do. I had a life coach for 7 months. He was $1,700 a month. There was 4 Zoom calls that were an hour long. Dude, I got so much out of those Zoom calls, like well worth it, you know? And I had plenty of people around me telling me like, dude, you're crazy. You know, you're crazy. And I'm just like, dude, I am light years ahead of you when it comes to what I've given to my community and the people around me. I'm able to give more because I've stepped up my growth. And I know a lot of people in this life that are just givers. You know, they want to give everything away, but what happens is they get stepped on. I watch them get stepped on all the time. And sometimes in sales, but like, you know, people that work in like hospitals and stuff like that, look how much their health is sacrificed for them to work that job and like help people. It's rough, man. And like, if they could get some time to grow in the, you know, in their relationship with their partner and like take care of themselves and their health a little bit, they might be able to give in other ways or bigger ways. You know, I don't know exactly what type of picture to paint there, but I get you. I hope you understand my point that some folks just don't get time to grow or time to practice their growth. And like, that's what Revolt is. Like, we're here to like transform and grow. And we're all at different stages. It's not, because once again, it's not a contest. Like, How do we transform though? And that's why I became the certified coach, is because I said I need to be able to handle Fearless 44. Like I've always had an internal struggle with drinking, like always, dude. Like, and it's one of those things where it took a long time to understand. It took some trouble I had to get into and things like that. And a lot of reflection and transformation to get past that. Am I completely perfect and over it? No, but am I doing a lot better? Yeah. Am I having a lot less times where I'm waking up and like regretting what I did the day before, the night before? Yes, a lot. And I knew for me that one of the best things that Revolt could do for me was hold me accountable to the things that I want to be held accountable to by the right people coming down on me in the right way. Does that make sense?
Oh,
like
yeah.
I need the right mentorship. You know what I mean? I want the right kind of people to hold me accountable. Mom yelling at me, Mom, I love you, but like mom yelling at me after all these years, you get deaf, dumb, and blind sometimes to what some people are saying to you, and that happens to people with their spouses too, or whatever. Like, you quit listening because you keep hearing it, but it's still a problem. You're not changing. You're not transforming. And sometimes I think you need a different voice, and like I knew that Revolt would be an awesome group of voices to help push me. I didn't launch my business until I joined Revolt. I didn't really launch it. You know what I mean? It'd been sitting there and like just it'd been burning inside of me to get it going, but I had hesitation. You know what I mean? Because in my mind, it's like I still don't have everything in my life under control the way I wanted to. How am I going to teach others to put themselves into control in their life? Right. And the other thing is, like, when I had that life coach, shout out to his name is John Marone, great person. He spoke at a Win the Storm like 4 or 5 years ago, and that's how I met him. I chased him down back at behind stage. The guards are like, "Hey, you can't go back there," and I'm like, "I have to know this guy." And I like chased him down. I got his name and number, and we started talking. But it took 2 or 3 years for some of those lessons to sink in. That's how hard-headed I am. Like, it took like 2 or 3 years for some of his lessons to really impact me and change me. Like, so I guess that's one part of something. If I could leave some value for people on here listening, is like, seek some mentorship. Like, if somebody's better at something than you at something, ask them. Like, go to that person and say, how do you do what you do? Because even if they can teach you and you are ready to listen, sometimes the lessons are going to take a while. So get to it, because we all have just limited time here. So let's stop sucking at whatever we're sucking at and get better. Like, let's improve.
Right on.
I like that, man.
Love that.
I like that you touched on the whole servant thing at the beginning, where you got to make sure that you're taking care of yourself too, because without that, you're not as good as what you can possibly be. And people that are able to get that recharge and that refresh, it just allows them to serve better in the time that they're actually at work or something like that. And I seen a video of Rob Deerdeck. You guys familiar with Rob Deerdeck?
Oh, yeah.
He was talking about some things that he does. He at one point in his career, he realized that if he blocked out and took care of himself and was able to block out enough time that he could go to work 1 hour earlier and go home 1 hour later, that's 2 hours a day, he gets 30 extra days of work a year. That's an entire month extra of work that he's fully charged, he's fully there mentally, and he's able to do. I mean, that's an entire month extra of work than your average guy. You work 10 hours versus 8 hours. If you're fresh for that 10 hours, man, that's 30 extra days that you can be there for your team, and you can, be or inspiring people or whatever your job is. But I think it's super vital to take care of yourself as a leader. Because Ty, like you said, man, even leaders are humans too. You put your pants on the same way that we all do. And it's very easy to get stuck in that 6 inches, man.
Absolutely. It is. And this is the thing too. You got to surround yourself around a good team of people who are willing to continuously keep growing. And this is the thing too. I know for me, I spend more time around people at work. So it's like, now we have to make sure that we surround ourselves around people that will help us level us up and not drag us down. And it's like, the larger that we get as a company, we have to be more careful and more selective on those. And we can be more selective and cherry pick. And, and this is the thing too. It's like today, there's certain people I just choose not to be around because I feel like they suck the life out of me. The older I get, the more that I realize that there's just certain people that I can't be around because of either it being them being superficial or fake. Like I just can't, I can't do certain things. And it's not necessarily at work, but in my personal life and other things like that. And that's the thing, because we're on a mission. We're on a mission to grow, personally, professionally, the business. And there's a lot of great things in the pipeline right now. So right now we all need to remain vigilant and not forget where we come from and keep the mindset that we're just getting started. And I think that message, even when I'm not there, because we have done such a great job of mentoring and coaching and parenting, that the message is the same, even if a few of us principals are on the road doing something or whatever. It's just it takes time. That doesn't, overnight success happens in a decade. And I can believe that, you know what I mean? Because there's different levels of, success, I guess. Right. And different forms of success. And, it's tough to be a 10 at all of them. I mean, it really is, because some weeks I'm a great dad, right? I'm very successful in my home life. Other times I'm a very successful leader at work, and I'm slacking at home. But like Chris, like you were talking about, Ed Milet talks about gaining. He breaks his day up into 3 days in one day. There's 3 8 hours in a day, right? And that's how he breaks his time up, and he adds. I don't even remember what the total of years that he adds to his life or week or however he has that split up. But when you can break it out and be very intentional about that time and that 8 hours when you're at work, and then that 8 hours of personal / workout / self-improvement time, and then 8 hours of rest, and what he does to prepare himself before he goes to bed. Right. And then the proper amount of rest that he receives. And then the process that he has when he gets up, 30 ounces of water, doesn't hit the snooze button, like automatically he's compounding wins the moment his feet hits the floor. And I know for me, right, that's where my confidence comes from. That's where my lack of insecurity comes from. If I'm smashing that snooze button right away, my day has gone astray, right? Like automatically, because now I'm running behind. The dog's got to go out. One goes out at a time. No sooner I'm coming back, it seems like then the other one wants to go out. And it's like, it just compiles these losses, right? The moment I smash that fucking snooze button, it seems like the losses start to pile up, right? But if you get into a routine, early in the morning, before everybody gets up, get my shit right. I do my morning meditations. I have a daily devotional book that I've read for probably 2 decades. Same book. It's a daily devotional. I read it every single day. And there for those 2.3 seconds that I read that thing, I look to see how I can apply that to my life for that day. Now, I forget it about an hour after I leave the house. But what it has done for me, it has slowed time down just ever so slightly for those 5 to 7 minutes between me reading it and then meditating on it. You can meditate in many forms, and me is just quiet, thinking about what I just read, and it slows everything down, where it just seems like everything's not coming at me so fast. And I feel the difference when I miss that one little step in the morning. When I miss that, I can tell right away in my day on how my day is going to go. It's like, oh shit, I forgot to read my daily reflections. And I encourage everyone that is kind of in my circle to read that every single day. And what's cool about it is it's little parts and pieces from other books, that I've studied and I've read. Most of them are out of basic text. So for self-improvement, and it's just something that I've done for forever.
Yeah, I mean, it's done works and wonders for it because of its consistency. So consistency and discipline, right? That's where real success comes in. So
Absolutely.
as you were talking, it made me think about how you just said that after a few minutes it leaves you. Well, I just took a second and Googled this. I said, how much stronger is the subconscious than the conscious mind? It said the subconscious mind controls 95% of your life. So what's really happening is the 5 or 7 minutes that you said that you, or whatever, how long it was, you forgot it. Like it made an impact back here.
Yeah.
And that's really the end. That's the real engine, right? I mean, there's like, I forgot what it is. It's like however many thousands or hundreds of things are going on back here than what's in like our subconscious mind in front of us. And I do believe that those morning habits are massive. And I've been getting way back into that, and it's been really good. It's just, I found that in the morning, no one can bother me. No task can get me. No email is going to get me, and send me into email mode, right? Now I'm in email mode, checking all my stuff, making sure this estimate got sent out, right? You just, that's autopilot, right? That's like autopilot stuff. So I do believe though in the morning, because another mentor of mine taught me that you're coming out of a dream state, as that's when you're most creative. And that's where I built my course. Like, that's where I built my course, was like, all right, how do I build a course that I believe is like the best way to present this information? And I just watched some other training courses and started building it all together. But all this stuff was done in the morning. All of it, always done in the morning, anything creative. There's a book called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. That's a really good one. And one of the practices in there is scribing, which is writing. And scribing and writing, it's a really good time to do that. It's, if you're, whatever you're trying to create, if anybody's trying to start a business or trying to create something, right early in the morning is like the best time to do it. You don't even need your cup of coffee. Like, just have some water, let your mind be unfiltered by a drug, and just sit down and just start writing. So that's one thing I would encourage people to do too. I have a book that's pretty much finished that I don't talk about too much yet, because I'm a perfectionist, and the perfectionist side of me stops me from releasing a lot of things. It also stopped me from launching this business. So I'm going to be in the processes of getting it edited with a really good friend of mine. That's what she does for a living. And that book is very much going to be about like, how does a brand new salesman or contractor like come into this space? So I'm really excited to do that. And Ty, you were just at that Revolt retreat with the guy who talked about releasing a book. That inspired me to do that, because it's like, I've already written my course. Like, I've already kind of done this, you know what I mean? Like, I can just take that as my base and move that over here and just expound, put my own experiences into it, and then put actionable steps into it, which is like, you make a book effective that way. They relate with you on your stories, right? People will relate with you in sales on their stories. And then always having something actionable, like at the end of it, like what can they take action with, and that can change your life. But I'm also one of those people that I remember that when people talk to me about like growth or evolution or change and the habits and stuff like that, I always kind of scoff at it a little bit. And it's because you get afraid to disappoint yourself. Like, well, I'm not going to try any of that. And you say that, but what it really is I don't want to disappoint myself, because I know I'm probably going to fail at it. I'm probably going to fall off the habit. I'm probably going to mess up. So I'm just going to make a snarky comment in my mind. And that's just a problem of the subconscious. Your subconscious hasn't been trained well enough. And yeah, waking up early, I mean, how much you can accomplish in that first hour or so in the morning it's really incredible. An hour is not enough. An hour is not enough. I believe that if your day's really got to start, your work day's got to start at like 8 or something, I think 2 hours is a safe buffer. I like the morning meditation myself as well. I got my own spot that I sit, got my own symbol that I created. I have my journal right next to me, because I think when you're in a meditative state, that it's almost like ideas are coming by like a train, and then it sits there and then it goes. So it's like, if a good idea comes along in a meditative state, you got to write it down like immediately, because you're going to have so many unfiltered good ideas come like a train stop and just hang out for a second, and then it might be gone forever. So sorry, I went way off the rails there. No, pun intended.
No, that's
but.
good. The morning thing, the morning routine, and where most of the wins come from to start out the day, it is a great topic, and it's probably something that we should talk, have a whole entire episode on. But one of the things that I've tried to practice is not checking emails, text messages, and especially social media, because I call polluting the mind, the second you get out of bed. So I've gotten into a habit, and every now and then, though, I'll see a notification, and by happenstance or just out of habit, I'll click it and be like, damn it. You know what I mean? Especially when I go outside, because first thing I do when I go up, get up in the morning is go outside. And usually because the dog needs to go out, or I need to smoke a cigarette or whatever. But that's where I find my most peace and can center myself the best. And that's when I go inside and I do everything that I can do to not look at the phone at all. I don't care if it's the weather. I don't care if it's the email. Like, I just don't do that. And I've gotten to a habit. The moment I walk into the office door is when I go into social media, because at that point in time, I feel like I'm going into withdrawal. Unfortunately, like most, whether we notice it or not, and some people may not admit that, but you're on it more than you know you are. And I've even caught myself saying I wasn't on social media much today, but then when I go back through, and it's like, well, every single time, not like all my notifications are all cleared out, so I must have been on there more than I thought I was.
Mm-hmm. Well, you have two great tools inside your iPhone that you could change right there. If you have iPhone, is like, I have a daily limit on social media. It's 20 minutes. It's like, I cannot be on my phone for social media more than 20 minutes a day. That was a good improvement for sure, because I watched the screen time thing, and the screen time told me how much I was scrolling, and I was like, shit, I didn't know I was like sitting there doing that much. How terrible is that? I'm literally hooked into a drug. Like, social media is a drug. I mean, you take a second and go, there's a really good documentary out there about it. I'm trying to remember what it is. It's about Facebook, but they literally have a whole room of engineers, and their job is to sit there all day and figure out ways to make the entire platform more addicting. So when you hit the like button, what's the sound that it makes? What frequency is it hitting your mind? And that's disgusting to me. Like, that's really sickening. You don't need to do that. It's already addicting enough, right? Yeah. That's a whole different thing we could branch into. But dopamine hits. It's like, my buddy, one of my mentors that I work with as well, he calls it you do a digital detox, and he will take sometimes upwards of 5 days of zero TV, zero social media, zero interacting with anyone. Like, he will shut himself into a room with nothing but his, the food he has to eat, the bed, and pen and paper. I'm like, dude, that takes immense badass discipline, but the dude is a boss. So it's like, successful people leave clues. If you just follow the clues, like, they're going to tell you how to be successful. So, when it comes to getting better in life, there's many great, awesome mentors out there. And I always just recommend it. Somebody just grab something and try something, get into any program, stop sitting there with your ego or your brain telling you that you're good or something like that. Listen to the music that's out these days. Listen to what they say. Like, you don't need to change a thing about who you are. You're beautiful the way you are. All this shit. I'm just like, you guys really subscribing to this stuff? Like, come on. Now, I don't mean you got to be like me and be German and be hard on yourself all the time, like mom taught me. But I do believe that there's something that can improve your life greatly, and there's always a means to find it. And just never stop trying, never stop trying to improve.
Right on, man. And that's what it's about. It's constant improvement and constant learning and working on yourself from the inside out. And it's not about saving your face. It's about saving your ass, really. Right. And Chris, you touched on it a little bit earlier. It's the selfish part of this is that I have to take care of myself. Right. And if I can't take care of myself, then I can't take care of anything else or anyone else. And it's like, when you're on an airplane, the first thing they tell you, one of the first things that they tell you is
gas mask.
Yeah. Put the oxygen mask on your face first. Why? So you can help other people. right? And that metaphor, it's the same thing in life, and it's the same thing about yourself. You got to get the proper amount of rest, right? And I'm not very good at that yet. You have to eat well, you have to exercise, and all of that, right? That's like physical things, but what about the mental things? You got to feed your brain, you got to exercise your brain, right? And you have to give your brain plenty of rest. It's the same thing. And I know this, the more that I work out, the sharper I feel up here. But going back to the morning routine thing, I can't work out in the morning because I burn those brain calories of my creativity and my inspiration. My ass drags all day long. If I get up at 4:30 and I work out till 5:30, dude, I feel like going back to bed. Why that is, I don't know.
I do go back to bed. I actually, if I do one of those type of workouts, I do a cold shower and I lay down for half an hour. But then after that, I'm ready to rock and roll. I do go back to sleep.
But if I work out in the afternoon, it gives me that energy I need to put in this, what I call is the second shift. You know what I mean? Like whether it's coming on the Behind the ToolBelt or going to a meeting or whatever the case might be, I call it second shift. Anything after 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock is second shift. If you're going to put in another 4, 5, 6 hours doing whatever that is, it gives me that push and that energy. And the accountability part of the Fearless 44 has been a great accountability for me, and especially with the cold showers. I took one before I got here. I take one twice a day. First in the morning.
Nice.
Right. And then at night, I take one in. And it's funny because when we're down south, not to change subject here on cold showers, but when we're down south, y'all down there have no idea what cold water is until you come up to the great state of Pennsylvania. I mean,
or Ohio.
Right. I know. I've been in Dallas and have taken what y'all think is cold showers down there. To me, it's lukewarm water. Right. I've been in Florida. Right. And have tried to take cold showers and it feels like lukewarm water. As soon as we get back home and I take a cold shower, it's like, oh my God. And I feel the difference. Like I don't get that
shock.
Yes, I don't get that boost.
The more shocked you are. Yeah, the more shocked you are, the better the dopamine hit is, all of that stuff. And I'm sure you can attest to that. Attest to this. If you're really experienced in the cold showers, like the key thing is your breathing. If you control your breathing, you start there. And then for me, it's like after I get past 1 minute, I don't feel it anymore. It's just, it feels like whatever at that point. So I figure you could attest to that if you've done it enough. Because it's so good for you though. And I've been talking to people a lot about that one. But yeah, I mean, I failed Fearless 44 like 6 times. Like there were tons of people there. They were like, dude, I saw you keep pushing through, And I was just like, well, fuck, man, I had to. Like, I'm not going to fail, and not make it. So yeah, it was a good test of discipline for sure. And the next one I want to do is 75 hard. I don't really agree with some of it and how it is, but like, I'm just going to do it anyways, That's this is actually Andy Frisella's hat. So yeah.
Good dude, man. Very disciplined guy.
His podcast is hilarious.
Yeah. He's a very disciplined dude, man. But yeah, this has been a great episode. I mean, this is one that will definitely go down in the books, man. You got a great message. You're doing great things, man. You got a great story. And I look forward to watching your success in the near future, and you growing as a human being. Hopefully, if you ever need any help or questions about drinking, I can tell you exactly what not to do when it comes to drinking, which may in turn end up helping you in the long run. But or whatever, dude. Ears are always open, bro.
Next time I see you, I'll love to sit down and hear your story for sure. My big thing is I'm just trying to gear up for this winter to do a lot of coaching this winter when companies are slowed down. So if you know any companies that could use some good coaching for their teams, let me know. That's my big thing I want to get into this winter is fill up the winter with just companies like every weekend I want to be out coaching.
Well, how could someone get a hold of you? What's the best way? You got a website, you got phone number.
Yep. So it's just straight superiorsalescoaching.com. You can find me on Facebook. My name is Erich Moore. It's ERICH Moore, MORE. You send me a message on there, and then yeah, I'm sure I want to be sure, but if you Google Superior Sales Coaching, hopefully it comes up with the whole SEO thing. But yeah, if you just type it in straight, superiorsalescoaching.com, you'll find my site. But obviously, if you're going to go on my site, you're just going to fill out a form to talk to me anyways. So you can find me on Facebook is where I spend most of my time. You'll see me commenting and laughing at things quite a bit on there. So yeah, just find me on there and send me a message. And I'd just love to do a call.
Right on, man. Good stuff.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Great episode, guys. Episode 180 is in the books. Erich, I want to show appreciation to you for providing the viewers with a lot of good information, man. Being a very easy guest to interview, man. We didn't really have to do too much to pull info out of you, man. I can tell you're passionate about this, and that always makes these episodes a lot easier. And it's providing value. I mean, that's why we do this. That's not the only reason we do this. We do this because we like to do this and we have fun doing it, but we like to provide value and education as well. So I think that you checked all those boxes, man. It's a pleasure having you on, Tyrus. See you soon, brother.
Yep.
TC Backer family, Behind the ToolBelt family, roofing family. We will see you guys next Wednesday for episode 181. Everyone enjoy the rest of your weeks. We are out.
Yeah.